At the end of Clash, Catelyn Stark Tully freed Jaime from Riverrun after she learned about the murder of Brandon and Rickon Stark. Her chapter ends with drunk Jaime telling her he is more loyal to Cersei than Ned was to her. He mocks his white cloak and her marriage by telling her they gave him a white cloak just like snow. Catelyn sends Jaime with Brianna to go to King's Landing to bring back Lord Stark's daughter, which takes Jaime on a trip through time, where he will have to face the shame, guilt, and anger he feels over his decisions and mistakes. After leaving Riverrun, Jaime revisits the biggest moments in his life. However, unlike in his youth, where he leaves those moments with regret, anger, and disappointment, in the story he leaves them feeling satisfied. Everything starts when Jaime fights a wench that hates being a woman. They go at it for a long time, stopping for a time to rest, and go back at it again. Jaime feels happy and alive for the first time in a long time, and then he loses the fight. After their fight, he tells the mummers Brianna is his wife, and he asks Cersei to be his wife. Losing to Brianna caused him to lose his hand, and losing to Cersei caused him to lose the rock. After both losses, he goes to Harrenhal. On his way to Harrenhal with Brianna, Jaime is miserable. He just lost his hand and thinks he will be returned to Riverrun to be a captive again. Yet when he leaves it, he gets the guilt, fight a bear, becomes a hero, and learn his family are safe, and mostly won the war. When Jaime goes to Harrenhal with Cersei, he have all of his hopes and dream of being a hero, yet when he leaves it, he is miserable. He learns the only reason he was given this honor is to insult his father and to take away his heir. He wasn't even allowed to joust, and he loses the girl. Harrenhal has a significant importance to the Jaime story. It is the place where the corruption inside of him starts. Becoming a Kingsguard was the first step that killed the boy who wanted to be Sir Arthur Dayne. For 15 years, Jaime didn't go back to Harrenhal, and when he went back, he lost the hand that killed the king, and was treated by cutting out the rotten flesh and burning out the corruption. Inside of Harrenhal, Jaime learns that Tyrion, his heir, have done the thing he sacrificed everything to stop, which led him to tell someone for the first time why he killed the king. After leaving Harrenhal, Jaime had a dream where his family were forcing him to go down to something dark and terrible. In the dark, his family abandoned him to his fate, facing Rhaegar for his family's crime of killing the children. Even though he didn't kill them by his own hand, he was responsible for their death, and it is the only crime he can't move past. After leaving Harrenhal for the first and the second time, he goes to King's Landing a changed man. Yet his father still wants him to be his heir. Cersei wants him to give up everything for her, and she refused to be his wife. And the shadow of Tysha is still between him and Tyrion. Jaime decides to do his duty as Lord Commander only, and ignore his family. He goes to the Riverlands to end the war, and wonders about the food problem, until Brianna comes to drag him to a trap. Jon Snow's story from the start of A Game of Thrones to the end of Storm is a retelling to the Jaime Lannister story before and during Robert's rebellion, while his story at the end of Storm and in Dance is a mixture between Ned Stark's story at the end of the rebellion and Jaime's story in Feast, with small differences. The Jaime Jon story. He's the second-born child who's really close to his older brother, in a way that angered his mother figure, so she separated them. He wanted to be a great knight, just like Aemon the Dragon Knight and Sir Arthur Dayne, but all of his dreams were smashed when he was tricked into taking the white black lock when he was just 15. A brotherhood that he will have to be a part of for his whole life. On the same day he said his vows, he learned something that made him want to desert the Night's Watch, Kingsguard, immediately, but he was forced to stay. Being a part of this brotherhood led him to be close to a silver white-haired king, who had a black and red cloak. The king keeps him around, even though he doesn't trust the boy. The boy felt that a woman he loved made him a trap, and the king pushed him into it. A Lannister man, his father, Jon Slant, wants him to kill the king in his own home, while a Baratheon king attacks the city. King's Landing mounts his hosts that resemble a moving city. The only difference between Jaime and Jon is that Jaime killed the king and didn't think of the prince and princess, while Jon didn't kill the king, and in the fight he only protected the princess and the babe. From this point on, Jon's story turned into a mixture between the stories of Jaime after losing his hand and Ned after the rebellion. A Stark snowman is in Dorne, the north, when a queen with the blood of the first man is given birth to the heir of a silver white-haired king, who wears a black and red cloak. The queen dies giving birth to the prince, while there is a battle outside. The Stark snowman wants to protect the little prince. He respects the boy's father regardless of the whole war thing, yet he knows the prince king is dead, going to die. So he sends the boy from Dorne, the Wall, to Winterfell, the Reach, with a Dornish wildling witness, in hope he would be safe there. Thus the prince have a Dornish wildling lord to be his milk brother. Even though he didn't ask to be, he was chosen to be the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard Night's Watch. Most of people around him thinks he's a Turncloak and an Oathbreaker. They want him to get punished for his crimes. But the Baratheon king doesn't care, mostly because of his birth. Behind the scenes, his brother, whom he have a lot of mixed feelings toward, wants him to leave the Kingsguard Night's Watch and go back home to be his heir. The king doesn't mind that or wants to free him from his vow, but he refused to leave because of his vows, and it's a place he made for himself, a place where he feels he belongs. While he does his duties, trains with swords, and tries to get everyone to work together, he realizes that there is not enough food for winter. Hoping to end the war fast so they might have one last harvest, build glass houses, a man he trusted, gives him a message that a Stark girl, his little brother's wife, little sister, is in the hand of a Lannister dog, Clegane Bolton, and her life is in danger. This made him decide to leave his men and duties so he can go to protect her, which led him to fall in a trap where they will try to kill him. Even though she believes he's a man of honor, they are crying and apologizing while stabbing him. But they have to kill him.